I just finished the Kratzert Tract at Lake Monroe. It was a 1.6 mile loop, beautiful, lots of hammock, so shaded area with palms and variety of trees, some hardwood, pines, some softwoods, palm, things like that. It is warm today, so definitely keep in mind that this is not a completely shaded trail. The 1.6 miles, I think probably half of it was shaded, maybe a little less, maybe 40%. It was a terrific trail for people that are dealing with distance limitations, but it did have routes to step over, no steps up or down, which I was glad about. Also, there are 2 footbridges that are beautiful, and I was worried that those ones would require a step up or down, but neither of them did. They have ramps for them. And so that's very fun. I love it when they include footbridges in these hikes. The path was marked okay with white spray paint on the trees, which, you know, it doesn't last often. So I would be nervous to say that it was marked well because the markers aren't permanent. I would say that the track chair could do this trail. It was wide enough. If you were comfortable going over routes, then that would be fine for a track chair. There are some tricky routes and you would need to slow down, but track chair would do okay. And if you were just walking, then yeah, you could just step over them. As long as you're capable of that, then this is a good trail for you. I'm going to label it a level 4 because it's between 1 and 2 miles. It's 1.6. The ground is pretty hard. So everywhere I went was either hard packed sand, hard packed dirt, grass, maybe a pine needle blanket, but nothing slippery. And so everything was pretty hard, which was terrific. But the reason I'm putting it at a level 4 is because of those routes. They really were obstacles that you would need to pay attention to along the way. And it was kind of scattered throughout. So it wasn't just one location or anything like that. But overall, loved the hike, would recommend it if your only concern is distance. All right, we're here at the Lake Monroe Conservation Area doing the Kratzert Tract. When I looked this up on All Trails, it only came up as the white loop, so that was interesting. And then when I followed the trail for the white loop, it kept telling me I had taken wrong turns because it doesn't exactly line up with what they say is the white loop. So anyway, it's just kind of funny. But if you are looking it up and you can't find Kratzert, but you can find white, you're on the right track. So I've done this loop before and it's beautiful. It's pretty warm outside today, so we are grateful for this shade. The wildlife that you can see out here is varied, mostly birds. There's always bears in the area, so that's possible, but I wouldn't expect that. Specific to Lake Monroe, which is a kind of a fun fact, is that it used to be all cattle farms. And then like, what, I don't know how long ago, I'm not going to guess. Osteen, the city of Osteen, bought this land from the ranchers that were out here, but allowed them to maintain roaming rights. And so often you will find cattle on these trails. This one in particular, the Kratzert, does not start from Lake Monroe Park, which is where the other 2 do start from. This one starts just a little down the road. So I don't know if cattle are more or less common over here, but it is, like, it wouldn't surprise me to see a cow. We're gonna have a lot of flat out here and mostly hard packed sand, this grass, which is hard, hard packed dirt, and then we are going to see quite a few roots. So that's one of the things that bumped this up to a level 4, is that we had those roots. But I'm excited for the footbridges that are here that do have ramps, no stepping up and down. Supposedly you can see scrub jays in the other loops, which is kind of one of Florida's like gems. Birders love to talk about scrub jays. I'm not a birder, but it's contagious, so I like to talk about scrub jays too. But they're not generally seen on this side of the park because you don't have the right scrub for them. But over on the Lake Monroe side, you do. So right now, it's possible that we could see some gopher tortoises, lots of lizards this time of year, so it's warm out. So this is a loop, and I took a right when I first entered. And luckily I know this trail, so I know that taking a right is a better option, because the trail markers are facing this direction, so we'll be able to see them. But they are just made of spray paint on trees, so do have to keep an eye out for them. See, there's rocks on the ground that we're kind of stepping over. So it's that stepping over that pushed this to a level 4. Most of it's avoidable, but still. Got some cabbage palms, longleaf pines, all in the same little area. There's some scrub, but it's huge, so the scrub jays wouldn't be over here. Scrub jays need their scrub to stay down. I think it's under 20 feet. Maybe even smaller than that, maybe under 15. Oh, butterfly. When I parked, I saw another car, and then and a person, and they took off on the trail before me. Oh, hello. And so I didn't see them on the trail, and then I haven't seen anyone else in the area. So it's kind of nice. We've got this all to ourselves. It's a beautiful, beautiful area. Oh, I love these hammocks with the shade. So here's our trail marker on the right hand side, that white spray paint. Oh, so I'm just noting that if I had come this direction, if I had started left, there are trail markers on this side of the tree as well. Good to know. I tend to choose starting to the right. It's just what I found is more reliable on a loop for markers. Hard packed dirt. This is so magical. Okay, now we're coming up on this route. See how large this is? This is a step over for sure. You could, or kick and fall. You could potentially go over that with a track chair. It would be kind of the max for a track chair, in my opinion. You would need to go really slow, but it would be doable for sure. Here's our first footbridge. So delightful. We are in a drought right now, which reminds me to fix my sprinkler head. But so this little channel is dry. But we are just approaching hurricane season, and even though that can be a scary time of year for people, it's also very needed because we've gone for a long time without rain. And Florida thunderstorms are so cool. So this is a longleaf pine here on the left that's kind of interesting because it's right between a baby and an adolescent. See how these pines needles are short and the ones down there are long? There's the baby. Little bush down there. That's what they look like when they first start. And then they turn into these guys that look like they're from Dr. Seuss. And they can get bigger than that for sure. So we are in kind of an open field. So it's nice that they placed a trail marker on that tree there and kind of highlighted it with whatever that is, plastic. Lots of beautiful sun. Then you have these other kind of pines all around. It's just fun to see this mix of hardwood and softwood trees. All these vines growing everywhere. Oh, Florida, I love you. Spanish moss, lizards, lots of anthills. Oh, look at this fern, blanket of ferns. A little drink time. I really love drinks. Love them. I have one in my car waiting for me that's got my electrolytes in it and some creatine powder to help rebuild muscle after exercise and get me nice and hydrated. So I always look forward to stuff like that. I like to make myself little treats to look forward to. The creatine powder is tasteless, so it will just taste like a salty lemonade kind of. The electrolytes. And now we've got blankets of leaves instead of pine needles. So they call them pine needles, but pine needles, you probably know, are just wrapped up tight, super duper 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 tight leaves. So when you call it a long leaf pine, you think, wait, why would they call it a long leaf pine? It doesn't have leaves, but actually it does. Pine needles are just really tightly wrapped leaves. Oh, we have some magnolia trees just making a little appearance. There's a baby one. A juvenile one. Oh, they look healthy out here. A little bit of sand, but avoidable for sure. Oh, thank you for coming on this hike with me. This is where we can really chill, take deep breaths, fresh air. Even if you're watching this later, just a reminder to deep breathe. Oh, this is so pretty. Take this a little slower because it's so pretty. Brit tried to take my sunglasses. I'm seeing bird shadows. Most likely they're vultures, but we also see osprey out here, eagles. Look at how beautiful the tree stump is, or nook, or whatever we're calling it. It's so pretty. Also turkeys, wild turkeys sometimes are out here. Hearing some bird sounds, but not a lot. Normally if I hear like 2 or 3 at the same time, I'll pull out my Merlin Bird ID app. But I'm kind of only hearing 1 at a time. Okay, so this looks like we've had a service vehicle through here on soft ground, which makes me think that if it had been rainy recently, that this might be flooded. So something to keep in mind if you're coming during rainy season. And again, we have some roots. But this middle section that's not obscured by the... What is that? Oh, I had a little friend, a little spider friend, wanted to come home with me. How nice. But access denied. I was even saying, that there was enough width there for a track chair to get through, even though you did have those trenches from the service vehicle. Now I've got like spider webs on me. I do not hike with a pole, though most real hikers do, because you can use it for balance, but you can also use it in self-defense if ever needed, and most commonly for spider webs. But you have to see them to use your pole. See, that didn't happen for me. You need to see it. Okay, big roots here. Could definitely go over this in a track chair, but similar situation, kind of max capability of the track chair, I would say. Got a trail marker. Hey, all these twisty branches. Take a picture. Oh, and up there are some resurrection fern. So I don't know how well you can see, but up there on that horizontal log branch, there are what appear to be dead fern plants. And that is, in fact, not the case. They are just hibernating basically because it's so hot and dry. But they are crunchy, like completely devoid of water. And you would think, oh, if this was in my garden, I need to take them out. They've died. That butterfly was beautiful. Black with white spots on its wings. But in fact, they're not dead. They just go into this semi-hibernation phase to preserve themselves. And then as soon as the water comes, they just perk right back up, turn from this dark brown like a stick into lush green. It's fascinating. But hence the name resurrection fern. This is interesting. It looks as if it's propped up by that branch. More spiders. But really what's happening is that's its taproot. Look at this. So this is the base, this is underneath of a tree. That's its taproot. So the root that goes down to the aquifer for water when there's not a lot of water on the surface. These are the ones that get they get easy access water when it's raining. But this taproot, it goes all the way down to the aquifer, which here is probably like 20 feet down. And it probably goes further than that. It's said that roots are 3 times the length of a tree underneath the tree. So this looks like a bush, but it's the base of a tree that's fallen over. And the tree is somewhere. Oh, look, there's the tree going across. That's so cool. That is so cool. It was like a diagram. Wow. I should have taken a picture of that. I'm going to take a picture of that. It looks like nothing, but it is not nothing. Wow. Yeah, taproot, tiny roots, a tree all the way down. Wow. What a find. I didn't see that last time I came. Just so many things you could see that you miss. Look at this air plant. It's just welcoming the sunshine. Hello. Oh, I don't know that I can get it good. I don't think that I'm doing it any justice. It's up a little too high for me to really enjoy it in a picture later. Oh, more resurrection fern. Wow, this one looks like it got eaten from the inside out, and that's how it died. Maybe some lightning or something, but I doubt it. All of this around here. Maybe. No. Listen to all those guys screaming. You got something to say out here. There are ticks in this area. Unfortunately, I normally find them significantly after I've hiked one of these hikes, which kind of creeps me out. But in this area in Florida, they don't typically carry Lyme disease, which is the main concern with ticks. They can carry things, but Lyme disease can be lifelong. And that is not something to be taken lightly, something to be very cautious of, which is why I hike very cautiously in New England, because, man, when we lived there, it was almost normal for people to just get Lyme disease. Oh yeah, he has Lyme disease, she has Lyme disease. Like, what? You know, and that can affect, depending on how long you go before you catch it, it can affect you neurologically. It can be a lifelong thing. Anyway, gotta be careful about that kind of stuff and know your area. Okay, so this does narrow here, but from what I recall, this is the only fairly narrow area, and you could navigate this on a track chair, just slowly. We've got this ramp up this footbridge. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. The water, we have water in this one, and there are fish. The sun is, oh, I should watch where I'm walking. The sun is reflecting in there, and you can see the fish. Lots of dragonflies today. Oh, wow. Yeah, this little river is going to the right of the trail. I hear you. There's some very large roots. So we're lucky that none of them, because sometimes you can have one giant thing going across the width of the path, and that'll prevent someone from doing an entire hike. Oh, that's so frustrating. Luckily, we're not going to see that on this hike. These roots are definitely worth mentioning, and obviously I've kind of hammered that home. But no, nothing that requires you to lift a foot as high as a stair. Maybe I should be lifting my feet as high as the stair. These air plants that are growing on the sides of the trees are just gorgeous, especially when the sun shines through them. There is no bathroom facility accessible for this trail. So if you know you're going to need to use the bathroom, it's better to do so either before you leave the house, or if you're coming from further, you can go to Lake Monroe, the actual park over there, and there's lots of facilities, playground and parking lot and bathrooms and the whole lot. I think I just heard a woodpecker. Where are you? I don't see it, but in this area we do have articulated woodpeckers, which is the type of woodpecker that woody woodpecker is, that redhead. They don't quite have such long legs. Okay, I hear 3. I'm pulling out Merlin once I get to the shade. Okay, it's tracking me in Osteen, Florida. Very cool. So we have the blue-gray gnatcatcher, the red-bellied woodpecker. So that's probably, I think, what we were hearing back there. Tufted titmouse, northern parula, Carolina wren. Very cool. So I heard 3, and so that's why I pulled out my app, and there were actually 5. Okay, now I'm interested to know if we're going to be able to see the taproot on this guy that's knocked over. Because, I mean, that was just so obvious on that last one. This is where I bring ticks home, because I'm going in here. This is so cool. But the taproot isn't connected anymore. I'm sure this moss, when it's raining, is just so vibrant. There's so much moss on the ground, which could also get slippery if you... It could. Okay, these are some big roots. If you're on a tractor, keep it slow over here. There's a lot of areas where you can just kind of forge ahead. So that's why I think it's doable. If it were like that the entire time, it would maybe not be fun, because you would just be jostling the whole time. If you were in a track chair and had lower back problems, I would not suggest this hike. I hear something. not going to show its pretty face today. Maybe a squirrel. I am still in search of a foxtail squirrel. A fox squirrel, sorry. The Florida fox squirrel is supposedly like the size of a cat. And they're hard to see, and they're black. They're very rare, but someday I'll see one. That's on my list of some days to see out in the wild. I also want to see a bear in the wild on a Florida trail. But I want it to go well. Like, I don't want it to be the last thing I see. So now we've got pine needles on the ground. And it's hard-packed dirt with grass, pine needles. It's just kind of cool how this changes. And we're just within this same small area, but doing this loop. You get to see so much. That's one of the joys of Florida, man. You can switch between ecosystems like so fast. Awesome. This is the end of the trail. We made it. Level 4 hike. It's 1.6 miles. Relatively flat. Root obstruction. Hard packed surfaces. Some narrow areas to be aware of. Footbridges with ramps. Beautiful canopies. Tons of birds. It's been a good day.